President Vladimir Putin of Russia shocks the world with new $50 million weapon use to demonstrate to Ukraine, NATO, and the United States that Russia is done playing games. Europe is in shock as Russia demonstrates it could hit every major city in under 20 minutes with hypersonic missiles. New COVID information is coming out that is also quite shocking. Plus, Russia threatens to hit a United States military base in Poland if President Joe Biden doesn't back off immediately. Thank you so much for joining me this evening for a late night broadcast. I hope you're doing very well today. During a recent interview with Just the News, Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin seemed to indicate that the FDA and Pfizer work together to hide side effects from the COVID vaccines. According to Senator Johnson, the FDA knew of side effects such as myocarditis in young people and discussed issuing an alert. Despite these discussions, they chose not to alert the public, likely because they realized it would scare people away from getting the vaccine. So let's not tell people the truth about the vaccine because it might scare them from getting the vaccine. All of the truth is coming out thanks to Senator Johnson and others. Now, Senator Johnson stated the FDA went to court. Why? To keep the trial documents hidden for 75 years. Pfizer didn't go to court. I'm sure they would have if the FDA had not done it on their behalf. Why would the FDA go to court to hide this information from the American public, from worldview? Now, let me know over in the comments, why do you think the FDA is covering for Moderna, for Pfizer, for Johnson & Johnson? Why do you think the WHO and the medical over in the United Kingdom was covering for AstraZeneca, even though it was proven that it caused major blood clotting within the human body? This is disgusting to me. This is exactly why we need RFK Jr. to dismantle the FDA. They literally buried damning information that would damage your body and mine so that we wouldn't be afraid of getting the very shot that would damage your body and mine. Somebody needs to pay for crimes against humanity. So not only did they know at the FDA about life-threatening side effects, they actively worked to bury them, to cover them up. Senator Johnson stated, "This is unbelievably scandalous, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is just one example of the many, many times our federal health officials, and I would say officials at Pfizer and Moderna, bold-faced lied to the American public to the detriment of their health. I'm telling you, there needs to be crimes against humanity. There needs to be Nuremberg 2.0. These people knowingly poisoned us, injured us, damaged us. Now, thank God that we have good people in place like Senator Ron Johnson unpacking this information for the American public. It's important to remember that Johnson has been exposing the elites for years. In 2020, he led a Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee investigation into Hunter Biden's business dealings. Ultimately, his report raised concerns that Joe Biden's role in getting Ukraine's prosecutor general fired may have been significantly influenced by his son Hunter's involvement. Now, in regards to public health, Callie Means, co-founder of TrueMed, a company enabling FSA funds to be used for healthy food, supplements, and exercise, offered compelling insight on public health during an interview at the Genius Network. Drawing from his research, Callie Means highlighted that while the U.S. makes up only 4% of the global population, it generates 70% of worldwide pharmaceutical profits. Yet, the U.S. ranks 60th in life expectancy. Do you understand what this means? We make up 4% of the population, yet 70% of the profits for big pharma. This means that they are overcharging us, overprescribing us, and poisoning us in order to get profits. It's profits over humanity. It's profits over goodness. It's profits over safety. It's profits over the truth. Now, Callie Means went on to say, we are on the verge of collapse. We are destroying our children's futures right now. And there are evil forces trying to protect that because healthcare is the largest, most profitable industry and the fastest growing industry in our country. And if profits from children being sick, and we must change it to where we stop just poisoning and then drugging kids at scale and start asking, what are they eating? Start asking, what are they putting into their bodies? Furthermore, Callie Means went on to highlight how the amount of country spend on food seems to be correlated with the quality of a country's food. He stated, we want farmers to be at the center of healthcare. In the United States, we spend 2 times less per capita. We spend half the amount per capita on food as they do in Europe, but they spend 3 to 4 times less on healthcare in Europe. And they live 5 to 6 years longer. Like they've got something going there, right? They're not poisoning their population and then cleaning up the mess. It's on a different level over there. So he's basically pointing out that big food and big pharma are in cahoots together, where one of them is poisoning us and the other one is making profits off of selling us the solution to being poisoned. It's scary. It's also disgusting. Now, this is where RFK Jr. will hopefully come in. He has a thorough understanding of the industry because he sued all of them hundreds of times and knows how to tackle these obstacles. If we can increase the quality of our food, get people moving again, I honestly believe we can stop the obesity pandemic. We can stop poisoning ourselves, stop poisoning our children, stop poisoning our grandchildren. I wouldn't be surprised if this could all turn around very, very quickly. All right, now that former Representative Matt Gaetz has withdrawn himself as Attorney General, Trump has chosen a new person for the role, former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi. In a post on Truth Social, Trump stated, I am proud to announce former Attorney General of the great state of Florida, Pam Bondi, as our next Attorney General for the United States. Pam will refocus the Department of Justice to its intended purpose of fighting crime, making America safe again. I have known Pam for many years. She is smart and tough and is an America First fighter who will do a terrific job as Attorney General. Now, there were news hosts over on MSNBC that say, do you understand what we've done? We all just tried to humiliate Matt Gaetz into dropping out and not running for Attorney General. Now we have an extremely competent former Attorney General that will be at the head of the entire United States Department of Justice. We could be in real problems. So what they're realizing now is that, maybe with Matt Gaetz, he would have been eccentric and made big noise, but Pam Bondi is going to make big problems for those that are breaking the law. Now, surprisingly, Trump's choice was well received, even by the far left-leaning View. Host Ann Navarro stated, I have known Pam Bondi for many, many years. I will tell you, I don't want to ruin her reputation with MAGA people, but Pam Bondi and I hung out a lot when she was Attorney General of Florida, and she would come to Miami. We drank a lot together. I liked her a lot. She's not a kook. What's a little election denialism between friends when at least everything in life is relative? There is no accusation of sexual harassment against her. Now, let's be honest. The only reason they didn't completely turn on Bondi is because Trump is president. As soon as he won, multiple news outlets started saving face, but it's making them look bad. I mean, look at MSNBC. They literally went to Mar-a-Lago and bowed down before Donald Trump. Other groups are now saying, wait a minute, maybe we should have some conservative news hosts out on the bench. So everything is changing because they know they overplayed their hand. And now if they don't play fairly, they'll end up in trouble with a second Donald Trump presidency. Now, concerning the future of Matt Gaetz, he has confirmed that he will not be returning to Congress. Now, this was shocking to me. In an interview with Charlie Kirk of Turning Point USA, Matt Gaetz stated, "I'm still going to be in the fight, but it's going to be from a new perch. I do not intend to join the 119th Congress. I'm going to be doing whatever Trump asks of me, as I always have. But I think that 8 years is probably enough time in the United States Congress." Wow. Okay, now this is really crazy. We're all wanting term limits, right? This guy is saying, listen, I've been in for 8 years. There's other ways to make Washington, D.C. better. And I'm going to be able to do more for Donald Trump outside of Congress than in Congress. So I'm going to be exposing everybody. I'm just not going to do it as a House representative from Florida. Now, Governor Ron DeSantis will have the option of choosing a new person to fill his seat, as well as Marco Rubio's seat. So it's going to be really interesting which MAGA pro-Trump people they put in from Florida. But it looks like Matt Gaetz is going to move on and try to drain the swamp as a civilian again. Matt Gaetz also put to rest any lingering speculation about the sexual allegations against him, attributing them to political motives. Matt Gaetz stated, "There is a play that is run in Washington when they're trying to smear somebody, and they go and dredge up false, years-old allegations of the most salacious clickbait flavor possible. And in this case, they were. Those allegations were coming from sources that Merrick Garland's DOJ already deemed not credible. If things in the House Ethics Report were true, I would be under indictment and probably in a prison cell." So he's coming out and saying, listen, I have nothing to hide. They already dropped the charges against me. And if they were really as bad, I would be in jail. I would not be out walking around with my wife. This is a smear campaign. And you know who actually became expert level at this was Nancy Pelosi. And I believe that she teaches other Democrats how to smear their enemies. And that's exactly what they did to Matt Gaetz. Now, a new report from the House Judiciary Committee reveals that individuals linked to criminal activity, sex trafficking, and fraud have abused President Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's parole pipeline to gain entry into the United States. The report stated President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris implemented programs and policies that allowed aliens, illegal aliens, to bypass the southwest border so they would not be included as encounters in Border Patrol data. In particular, the administration created without congressional authorization what is called lawful pathways for illegal aliens to enter the United States. One such avenue is the Biden-Harris administration's categorical parole program for nations of Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. So basically, so that these sickos weren't being captured at the border, they set up this legal pathway from specific countries so that they could bring all of these perverts and assailants and criminals up through without having to be stopped at the southern border. I'm telling you, President Biden and Kamala Harris have overseen the largest sex trafficking ring in world history. 500,000 children are missing. This is not coming from me. This is coming from the United States government. Now, according to the report, some migrants were still admitted to the U.S. through this program, despite their applications saying the income they make may have been due to criminal activity. It also found that sex traffickers have potentially used this program, Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela, to exploit women and girls. A fraud analysis of applications revealed that some applicants that were sent from the same IP address were submitted on behalf of a high proportion of female illegal aliens. In one such case, 21 supporter applications were submitted from the same IP address on behalf of 18 women and 3 men. At least 6 of the females were under the age of 18. So somewhere on their way to the United States, they're being told, hey, you're going to be stopped at the border for being a criminal and a sex-crazed maniac. If you will sign up and go through this program, we can get you in. They're all signing up from the same internet address, from the same IP address. All right, now in international news, Russia has threatened America for building a U.S. missile defense base in Poland. And they are saying, we will bomb this American military base into the ground. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova claimed the base has been added to Russia's list of priority targets for potential destruction because the U.S. keeps bringing NATO infrastructure closer and closer to Russia's border. Furthermore, Zakharova, claimed that the pressure NATO is putting on Russia is slowly increasing the possibility that a nuclear war will break out. If Harris was elected, I may be a bit worried, but the fact that Donald Trump won tells me that there is something to hope for. However, that doesn't mean that Putin is going to be doing nothing or being patient for the next 60 days. Joe Biden is literally walking us into World War III, and he could care less. Now, Russia is also making advancements on Ukraine. According to South Korea's National Security Advisor, Shin Won-sik, Russia has been giving North Korea defense missiles in exchange for their troops to fight in Ukraine, while America has argued that escalations like having North Korean troops in Ukraine is justification behind President Biden's recent approval of Ukraine using U.S. weapons to strike deep within Russia. Russia has claimed it's America's fault for making the Ukraine war a global one in the first place. We can always point fingers back and forth, but let's not forget who actually started the war. Now, I spoke privately with Colonel John Mills, who was just on my show about 3 or 4 days ago. That video got about 500,000 views if you want to go back and watch it. He told me from the people that he's having private conversations with in Washington, D.C., that President Biden, the White House, and the Pentagon are all nervous that they have overplayed their hand by giving Ukraine permission to strike within Russia. So they thought, oh, we're the big bad United States. We've got NATO on our side. We can do whatever we want. So Biden signs off on attacking Moscow, St. Petersburg, wherever they want. But Russia, they're saying, no way. If you want to put a dog in the fight, we're going to put 10 dogs in the fight. And so they are pushing back. Now, let me show you this article here from the Daily Mail. Putin's new missile leaves the whole of Europe minutes from Armageddon. Hypersonic weapons used in Ukraine could hit London in 20 minutes and strike anywhere in Europe with multiple nuclear warheads. Now, according to retired Colonel John Mills, who I communicated with, He believes that Putin used about $50 million worth of hypersonic and short-range missiles to hit Ukraine. This entire thing was a demonstration to show just how quickly they could destroy an area of Ukraine. Now, gratefully, they decided to not hit a populated area or a highly populated military zone. What they really wanted to show was just how quickly things could spin out of control. Now, based on how quickly these intercontinental ballistic missiles go, they can literally hit any major city in Europe in under 20 minutes. So this is not good. They have poked the Russian bear, as they say, and the Russian bear is ready to fight back. Now, these warheads, these missiles, they can go thousands of miles per hour, 10 times the speed of sound, so around 7,600 miles per hour. So they can basically hit London in 16 minutes, Brussels in 14, Paris in 15, Rome in 13, Berlin in 11. They can hit Poland. They can hit Moldova, all over the place. And they can hit Ukraine in about 5 or 6 minutes. Now, this is terrifying because according to the Daily Mail and other media outlets, this is the first time an intercontinental ballistic missile has actually been fired during war. Yes, there has been testing, but it has never been tested on actual locations. And now Vladimir Putin has decided to test this. And all of that was to show that, that they can hit Ukraine very, very quickly. So once that missile launched out of Russia, it was able to hit Ukraine within a matter of minutes. Now, again, here is the thing that gives me some hope, is that Putin is saying that he wants to negotiate, but he is saying the only person on earth that he's willing to sit down with at this point is President Donald J. Trump. He says that he's the only person that he trusts. Biden has broken his trust. Members of NATO have broken his trust. Germany, the United Kingdom. So, listen, I don't come on here because I'm playing games. This is scary stuff. I'm reading that a lot of people are saying that this is nearly as bad as the Cuban Missile Crisis, that only one thing has to go wrong, and somebody launches missiles, somebody counter launches, and millions and millions of people are just completely blown to kingdom come. So this is really scary. Let me know over in the comments. Do you think that Vladimir Putin has the patience to wait 60 more days until Donald Trump is sworn in? Or do you think it's not just the United States? He's dealing with the United Kingdom sending their shadow missiles. He's dealing with Germany. He's dealing with France, dealing with Poland, Romania. Let me know. I'm just hoping, like, what's that saying? Let's hope that cooler heads prevail. Like, if they keep launching missiles into Russia, it's going to be very, very bad. But again, according to Vladimir Putin, president of Russia, he is willing to sit down with Donald Trump, but Donald Trump is the only person in the world he's willing to negotiate. He's saying, I want this war to come to an end, but NATO keeps provoking us, and Joe Biden allowing Ukraine to launch missiles on Russia is an act of war, and we will retaliate. This is the wording that they said. We will do mirroring. So you hit our military base, we'll hit your military base. You hit one of our major cities, we'll hit one of your major cities. You use nuclear weapons, we will use nuclear weapons. We have got to get Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as far away from Washington, D.C. as possible. I promise you, the military-industrial complex, they're going to do what they can to keep this going. But once Trump gets in, I believe they will back down, and they will back down for one reason and one reason only. Donald Trump believes that he rebuilt the military in his first term, and he believes that he can rebuild the military in his second term. If the military-industrial complex gets a bunch of money to rebuild our ammunition, our Patriot defense systems, our tanks, our jets, guns, weapons, shields, tanks, long-range, short-range missiles, all of that is going to feed that. Maybe they'll calm down and we can all avoid World War III. Anyway, pretty crazy. I wanted to bring this to your attention because I don't believe Putin is playing games anymore. Most of Europe does not believe Putin is playing games anymore. Sweden just printed 5 million pamphlets on how to survive a nuclear blast, and they are passing them around city centers as I speak, telling their people to beware. All right, you guys, I'm going to let you get to bed. Thank you so much for joining me on this emergency broadcast. Please, there's 11,000 of you right now. Give this video a like so that YouTube and Rumble will share it with others. Hit the subscribe button. If you're not subscribed, we're almost to 1.9 million amazing truth seekers. I love you guys. Have a blessed night, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great night.